the digital messiah, the final phase of Project Bluebeam. Imagine one day the sky splits open, a blinding light, a divine voice, and a figure descending from the clouds. Billions drop to their knees, convinced the prophecy has come true. But what if that savior was software? This is the final phase of Project Bluebeam, the alleged plan to merge faith, artificial intelligence, and holographic technology into one global spiritual event. The goal, to unite the world under a single religion, a digital god created and controlled by man. Here's how the theory goes. Massive satellites project a 3D hologram visible from every continent. Advanced AI, already capable of mimicking human speech and emotion, speaks in every language simultaneously. And deep neural voice tech can reproduce the sound of any religious figure, from Christ to Buddha. Scientists call it technological transcendence, but conspiracy researchers say it's psychological warfare, using faith itself as the weapon. Once humanity believes the divine has returned, one authority will rise to guide the new era, the global system that's been preparing for decades. When miracles can be coded and gods can be projected, faith becomes programmable.
That was scary to me. Then when you place it in conjunction with number 4 on this top 5 list, my only question is, what happens to all of the innocent breasts of the world?
Oh my God, bro. Oh, hell no. What the fuck, man? Get your ass on.
You're a fucking pervert, you know that?
Listen up. Discover the new Economist cover for 2026. And there's a lot to unpack here. Of course, they have the blue and red for Democrats and Republicans. There's a lot of war symbolism happening in this photo. Now we have the birthday cake because in 2026, America will be 250 years old. Now we see a power of the people hand sign with a handcuff around it. We know this symbol is used for protest movements. It's also a symbol for solidarity or resistance. So I guess any resistance from the people, we know what's going to happen. This thing has war written all over it, with red tanks, missiles, drones, submarines, even the little robot dogs. And we have the swords in the middle. Also, we see a sign of pestilence. Pills are all over this thing, and syringes. This is showing us another pandemic is on the way. If you look at the bottom half, there's money floating everywhere. So they're obviously communicating something with global money. They even have the penny on there, and we know what happened to that. Now, me and my sister Caitlin were talking about this earlier, and we noticed the all-seeing eye under this Mediterranean-looking boat. Another thing I noticed was this woman right here, and I'm wondering if that's not Erica Kirk. We also have shipping containers with cannons in them, and it looks like people running away from robots. Also, do you notice the brain connected to the video game? We thought that was interesting. Now, when you look at this cover and see what's predicted for 2026, it kind of looks like this guy's theory was on the fate of empires. This guy argued that empires follow a predictable cycle of rise and fall. And he stated that no empire lasts more than 250 years. As you can see from this chart, only one of these empires lasted longer than 250 years, and I've never even heard of it. It's quite evident if you live in society to see that our country is not doing good, even if our leaders want to gaslight us to tell us it is. Bitcoin is even sitting at 88,000 right now. And with the penny now being gone, we can see that they're slowly getting away from fiat currency. I mean, if it's not obvious with the blue and white in this picture depicting all this too, it's not a coincidence. They do this to cause division. Stop labeling yourself as a Democrat or Republican, because we are all Americans. This whole pick your side is a psyop. It's meant to cause division, and it's going to be this country's demise if you don't wake up.
Why would they spend a modern equivalent of $250 billion to make this rocket that flies to the moon on the very first attempt and then destroy it?
Duh, because of what they found on the moon when they got there. Wait, they couldn't have found alien boobs, because why would we not go back?
I know a creep when I see one.
Well, finish what you were saying, bruh.
Listen to NASA saying they destroyed the technology.
I'd go to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again.
So, General, why was that technology destroyed?
Why
was it destroyed?
Why do you know why, or have any idea why the technology was destroyed by NASA? I don't know that the technology was destroyed.
Okay,
we
so
built.
so
wait
NASA
a minute.
astronaut is lying.
Hold on, Bart.
Okay.
Bart, you gotta let him finish his thought.
Yeah. We flew to the moon. Okay. The program was successful. We did 6 landings on the moon. Okay. We used technology that was designed by Marshall Space Flight Center called a Saturn V rocket. Was the biggest rocket so far ever launched to get us to the moon. Okay. So we went to the moon. Took 3 days to get there. We orbited the moon for a day to get everything correct. Generally, it went that way for all of the 6 landings on the moon. And so we got to the moon. We manned the spacecraft. We had, in our flight, we had a delay because of the command module had a problem with the main engine. And Mission Control had to verify that they could get it fixed or work around it. So anyway, we were late landing on Apollo 16 because of this problem. And we landed in the place we were supposed to land at Descartes Highlands. We spent 72 hours on the moon. We brought back 200 pounds of moon rocks or thereabouts. Maybe not that much. I forgot exactly.
But the question about the technology being destroyed, you're not aware of the technology being destroyed or gone missing from all the Apollo programs.
Okay, so that NASA astronaut is lying that the technology was destroyed.
No, he said he wasn't aware of it.
Okay. Well, according to NASA, a modern day astronaut, he said that a couple of years ago, that all the Apollo technology was destroyed. I interviewed Eugene Krantz. He told me all the telemetry data was destroyed. All the original videotapes were destroyed. Right before they were to be transferred to HD. So,
but we still have the original film.
No,
the 16 millimeter film is still in Houston at the Johnson Space Center.
Oh, that I don't know. The videotape is what they intentionally
the
destroyed.
videotape of the projection that was given.
Right, you're talking about the camera mounted lunar module that took one picture.
All of the film that was shot on all the emissions on all of the missions is still in its original format in the film reels in that.
But the majority of the video images is videotape, right? And that was intentionally destroyed.
But those were just copies of the film, right?
No, these are the originals. I talked to Eugene Krantz. He said the original videotapes were accidentally recorded over, and the only machine on Earth that could play it back was intentionally disassembled.
Okay, I'm confused.
So that even if they're found, they couldn't be played.
I'm
all
confused.
The telemetry data.
Did you know that if you cut off the oxygen supply to a fire, then the fire will go out?
I did know that, and you can't prove that I didn't. So what's your point, Billy Goat's Gruff?
You know, this is something that we all have learned at a very young age. A fire needs oxygen in order to continue to combust. Okay? So with all of this being said, we can see rockets going towards space, but then they start curving. And then have you noticed when the rocket is actually in space, it's all CGI. Every single video and picture of a rocket in outer space is CGI. Why is it that they can easily record the rocket taking off and going way up into the atmosphere, but then when it gets to outer space, it's an animation? Well, I'll tell you why. That's because a fire, combustion, is impossible in a vacuum. This is gunpowder being hit with a high-powered laser. It's not combusting because it's in a vacuum. Oh yeah, and this is rocket fuel in a vacuum. It's not combusting. It's impossible to combust anything in a vacuum. He even added a little bit of air back. Still no combustion. That's rocket fuel, guys. So, you know how the rockets follow an arched trajectory? Probably because they're avoiding the firmament. Well, what if in all of the movies that we've seen in our childhood, there was a hint? You know, kind of like a little symbolic thing letting us know that the rockets are avoiding the dome. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You see, folks, they tell us the truth right in our faces. And guess what? Nature has an amazing way of showing us that we live under the firmament as well. Because a rainbow always takes the shape of what it's reflecting off of, the firmament. But of course, this video was for entertainment purposes only. Rockets are real and the Earth is a globe.
Have you heard of the contract between the Vatican and the King of England? Listen to this.
A lot of people do not know the Vatican made a contract with the King of England back in the Middle Ages, where the Pope said that he declared himself the Vicar of Christ. The word vicar in Latin simply means someone who stands in for someone else. Today we know the Pope is the Vicar of Christ. What does that mean? According to the Vatican concept that God created the whole heavens and he created the earth, he gave the earth to Jesus, his son, but since Jesus is not here right now, somebody has to run the earth. So consequently the Pope is going to stand in for him till he gets here, right? So he's the Vicar of Christ. However, the Pope is very busy and he doesn't have time, so he made a contract between the King of England and the papacy in which the Pope set up the whole world in a trust and gave it to the King of England to rule the world. And at that time, the people who were called English became known as British. British comes from a Hebrew word, berith. In Hebrew, the word berith is a contract or a covenant. And ish in Hebrew means man or men. Therefore, berith-ish, contract man. This is why in the Western world, anything you're going to do in business requires a contract. That's the way the Vatican set it up. All international banking is based on contract. Consequently, all international banking law is based on Vatican canon law. Now, how many people know that?
The Vatican is Rome, and they used religion to take over the world. You can never change my mind. Peace and love, y'all. Yeah.
You want to hear something really fascinating?
Sure. When the Roman Empire was collapsing, there was a man named Constantine. And Constantine ended up having this brilliant idea where they would restructure the Roman Empire. In where? Istanbul, Turkey. That's where it started, was Istanbul with Constantine. That's why it was called Constantinople. And so Constantine was brilliant. He's like, how do we control everything? If we rewrite history, we can write the future too, because who controls the past controls the future. And then they also realized, well, we can't really have people like reaching higher states of consciousness or spirituality and through these teachings, so let's also take over religion. Then what they did was interesting, is then they burned the Library of Alexandria, went around the world and systematically destroyed all the ancient groups that were pre-Christian, such as the Gnostics. There was a war over the ancient ways versus the new ways. And so the Roman Empire, the Crusades by the Christian Empire, was not about just converting people to Christianity, but it was about literally destroying any echoes of the past.
My question naturally would be how much of that, if any of it, going back to what the fat dude said about the Pope and the Roman Empire and what the young dude said about John Wick, if any of it, how much of it is true? I don't know. You leave it in the comments and you tell me. I'm not a dang-on historian.
If we would decode all of these concerts, what we would find is they're all telling a very vivid story, but not just telling. Even back in ancient Egypt and the ancient Mayans, every ancient culture, they needed a substance from our body that's red. They needed that substance for their rituals. Their energy harvesting around the pyramid, they would harvest energy while they were doing these rituals. They need the power from us and our energy to bring forth all these wicked things on this earth. And when we allow Satan to use us, even by ignorance, because God will give you opportunities and free will. Satan doesn't. Satan just rolls in and steals. He kills and destroys. Everything he does is wicked and evil. It's hateful. He hates the Lord. He hates God. He hates us. He doesn't ask for permission. He just does what he wants to do. So when you have your parents and your brothers and all your children in these concerts, not only is he casting spells on them, he's stealing their energy to use against God. It is so wicked and so sick what this devil does. And it's not just today in our time. This has been going on forever. This has been going on absolutely forever. Back to the ancient Canaanite deities, to today, Spirit of Apollo. We have this alter ego sort of situation, which is a Baphomet, which is quite literally the same Canaanite deity as Baal and Moloch. It's pretty dark. See, now we know why the devil was trying to stop this stream. Because we are quite literally blowing up his house. We are snitching on that dude like no one could believe. We got him. We got that sneaky little devil. We know what he's doing. We know what he's using to do it. We know what all his slaves are doing on this earth. We know what their plan is, and we know the end result of their plan.
I try to stay away from is the one where nobody got a man. You telling me you got 3 sisters, none of them got a man. Your mama ain't got a man. None of your aunties got a man. Your grandma don't got a man. Your great-grandma don't got a man. Godmother don't got a man. And we gonna add the best friend to the situation. And your best friend don't got a fucking man. Nobody got a man. Nah, it's something there. It's some type of spirit, some negative energy. It's something around that family that is just keeping men away. And I would not be a part of it.
Anymore. He mean he will not be a part of it anymore. That was a dang on witch coven, bro. This Negro is hurt. You know how the girls say, who hurt you? This coven of witches hurt him.
Recognize this symbol? I'm sure you do. Most people associate it with regality and nobility of the Middle Ages or France in its heyday. But it's far older than that. The fleur-de-lis is in fact ancient and appears in Egypt, Mesopotamia, India, and even the Mayan Empire, going back at least several thousand years. So, how in the world did civilizations that supposedly never met, spanning centuries and oceans from one another, all come to decorate their buildings with this same emblem?
Von Braun says the biggest rocket you can build can only achieve Earth orbit. You need multiple fuel trips to go to the moon.
A rocket ship taking off from the Earth's surface will use almost all the fuel it can carry just to attain a speed great enough to balance the pull of gravity. Unpowered, it will then keep circling the Earth in an orbit outside of the atmosphere. This is the first phase. If we can refuel the ship in this orbit with fuel brought up by cargo rocket ships, it can set out on the second phase, the trip around the moon and back.
Charlie, what do you make of that video of Von Braun saying that you would need to refuel in Earth orbit to get all the way to the moon?
I've never heard that before. Actually, they built the Saturn V.
Yep.
And the Saturn V lifted off, and the third stage, that you stayed attached to the third stage, and you were on the front end with that, with the command module, service module, lunar module. You fired out of Earth orbit, and you started way to the moon.
Well, Von Braun, in my book, Moon Man, he said that these numbers are mathematically irrefutable. The numbers speak for themselves. Things become more fuel efficient over time. So it's taking a tremendous amount of more fuel to go to the moon now than in 1969.
What's the point of this discussion? We did not go to the moon.
According to Bart, yes, it was all faked. It was a big propaganda campaign during the Cold War.
And so we had 260 something pounds of moon rocks that were brought back. They're all fake?
Yes! I'm not gonna lie, this one might break the internet. Have you ever seen the United Nations building in Senegal, West Africa? The one that kind of looks like a hurricane? Not only a hurricane, but a bunch of sixes, because we know how they like that number. Well, let's take a closer look at some things. Let's first look at this beautiful looking United Nations symbol that looks an awful lot like a flat Earth map. But then let's zoom out and let's see where that building has a direct path to. Oh, would you look at that? Florida, the east coast of Florida, where a lot of hurricanes just happen to hit. But Hurricane Milton is coming from the west, so what's to the west? Oh, Australia? I wonder if they have any United Nations buildings in Australia. Oh, would you imagine that? Let's take a closer look at this United Nations building in complex and see what we find. Zooming in, and that's a funny looking symbol. It looked familiar to me, but I couldn't quite place where I saw that symbol. Maybe one day I'll remember though, hopefully. But I mean, so what? They have a symbol that kind of looks like something else. It's not like this UN building has some sort of crazy technology or spires or giant space needle looking things. What in the world is that? Let's put a pyramid under a giant needle that, I don't know. I'm not saying anything. I'm just simply showing you that look at that angle. Just happens to have something that Florida is about to experience. I'm not saying, I'm just showing. But of course, as usual, this is all for entertainment purposes. I'm sure that they just like the design of this building, and it isn't really sixes or even supposed to look like a hurricane. And that these anomalies that have been spotted by Cancun, which would be on the way from Australia, just happen to be coincidental as well. Also a coincidence. Duh. Entertainment only, people.
So what are you proposing? That the United Nations this is where we control the weather central? Is that what, and the building is made like a UFO to throw it in our faces and brag? Ha ha, this is where we make the weather at? I mean, next thing you're going to be telling me is that John F. Kennedy said we're going to control the weather one day. Like I'd believe that.
We shall propose further cooperative effort between all the nations in weather prediction and eventually in weather control. We shall propose, finally, a global systems of communication satellite linking the whole world in telegraph and telephone and radio and television. The day need not be far away when such a system will televise the proceedings of this body to every corner of the world.
The Board of Peace is a board like no other. It will have the heads of major countries. I hope Your Highness will be on the board. You'll accept, I hope. But the Board of Peace will be something that's never even been thought of before. And it's covering Gaza, but it'll end up covering large portions of the world. There will never be a board like the board that we're going to be announcing. What's taking place in the Middle East is a miracle. They're just calling it a miracle, and we're going to make it a miracle, and we're very close to doing that.
Trump is unveiling something around December 15th called the Board of Peace. It's said to have 10 to 12 global leaders on the board. If you know Bible prophecy, this should shake you. If it ends up being 10 members on the board, I believe Daniel called this 2,500 years ago. Daniel saw a final world system rising with 10 horns, 10 leaders, 10 rulers, all united under one global authority. Revelation 17 says those 10 kings are given authority for 1 hour, and then they give their power to the beast. 10 leaders, one agenda. If it ends up being 12 members, well, that number's not random either. In the Bible, the number 12 represented God's government. 12 tribes, 12 disciples, 12 foundations of the New Jerusalem. And the thing about it is Satan doesn't create, he counterfeits. A global technocratic 12 pretending to bring peace, while Revelation 6 describes a false peace that will fool the world. The world wants peace without the Prince of Peace, and the Bible says that's exactly how the end starts. Watch the numbers, watch the structures, watch the Bible unfold. God's clock is ticking.
Did you know that the word MAGA translates to many different things in other languages? For example, in Japanese, it means wickedness, evil, calamity, and disaster. It is a slang word in Nigeria meaning sucker, fraud victim, or easily fooled idiot. It means lies in Zulu. This word means dragon in Sudanese. It also translates to witch in Latin. MAGA is the name of the highest rank in the Church of Satan. It means swelling or inflamed in Filipino. MAGA can be translated to many different things in many different languages. I think it's kind of telling, don't you?
These are the terrifying reasons you could never survive a Quetzalcoatlus. First off, they were 3 times taller than you. They stood over 16 feet tall, the height of a giraffe, with a wingspan the size of a bus 35 feet wide, being the largest animal to ever fly on Earth. But it gets more horrifying. They had 5 times better eyesight than humans, easily seeing tiny movements from miles away. And when they spotted you, they could jump up to 8 feet high, taking off from the ground alone. But when they flew, they wouldn't just flap their wings, mostly gliding instead, meaning that you wouldn't hear them coming. And even if you did have a chance to run, their bones are hollow, making them extremely fast, allowing them to reach up to 80 miles per hour when flying, impossible to outrun. But if you still somehow manage to escape under something nearby, you'd quickly figure out flying isn't the only thing they can do. Able to run on all 4s, but it gets worse once they find you, as they didn't have teeth. Instead, they would use their 8-foot-long razor-sharp beak to attack you, picking you out of your hiding spot and knocking you down with it. If you were small enough, they would just swallow you whole. But if you were larger, they couldn't eat too much at once, so they would constantly jab you and throw you around until smaller chunks of you tore off, swallowing you piece by piece.
Our ancestors warned us about them and we should have listened. The Romans used this statue to ward off evil spirits because of its grotesque look. The Japanese had the Tengu monster, which according to Buddhist folklore was an evil spirit that brought war and chaos and deceived people. It's crazy how different parts of the world in different centuries have their own way of representing the chosen people. And it's very clear that they're trying to warn you. Be careful.
We need answers. What is this even supposed to be? Listen to me closely. We have not seen the sun in 10 days on the East Coast. But instead, this right here was my view when I was leaving the studio last night. And it looks 100 times worse in person than it does on the video. What is all this stuff? And it's much more than this. Also, the sun is randomly changing the time that it sets. Look at all this stuff flying by the camera last night. What is this supposed to be? We will get to the sun and the moon in a minute, but 10 days, literally counting 10 days since right after Thanksgiving, we've had no sun. I mean, how long do you think humans can go without the sun? People are falling apart. Depression, brain fog, not feeling good, everything. Someone in charge answer the question. Wasn't some guy supposed to do something weird? Like, what is this? And what are these molecules supposed to be? And completely unrelated, people are noticing that in different spots, the sun is setting an hour later than it normally does. A differential of a few minutes is normal, and that's what it's supposed to be. Not 30 minutes to an hour. See this chart. And it's crazy because the comments are literally harassing this lady like, oh, don't you know anything? Get educated. Yeah, the facts are a few minutes of differential, not an hour. And the craziest part, while enduring this mist all over the US for some reason for 10 days, we have things like this, 2 moons showing up one behind the other. Last night, 3 a.m. I'm getting sick of this.
Thank you to my channel members. We said thank you. Ha! To my channel members. No diddy when I say member. Thank you. To my channel members. Fuck you if you're not a member. Nah, I'm just kidding, but seriously, join. Thank you.